But I want to get to the actual shooting, because when we talk about admissions and confessions, what Christopher Preciado made to the police was a confession. He didn't realize he was doing a confession. He thought that what he was doing was telling about the self-defense thing, how good it was what he did because he used self-defense. But that's where the science of investigation will just nail him down, because he's allegedly wrestling with Matthew Guerra for the gun that Matthew pulled on him. And he's manipulating the gun, in his words. And somehow he shoots Savannah Soto in a close contact wound behind the ear, killing her. And then he further wrestles the gun and manipulates it, in his words, and shoots Matthew Guerra behind the ear and kills him. 2 shots. Where did these shots take place? That's another thing we can argue about. Was the crime scene inside the car? I don't know. You know why? There was only 1 spent shell found inside that car. And there had to be at least 2 shots. Where's the other shell? Could Matthew have been shot outside the car and then Savannah inside the car, thus the 1 spent shell? Where's the other spent shell? Do the police know where it is? Very possible. They're not telling us, right? So everyone that insists that the crime scene was inside the car and this is how it happened, they don't know. They don't know. But you know what will tell us? The science of investigation and things like blood spatter, right? Because in a close contact wound, there's a good possibility that the bullet entered and exited and left blood spatter on the inside of the car twice. But if there's only one blood spatter from the shooting, then potentially one person wasn't shot inside that car. Phil.
Yeah, I think there's only 2 scenarios that I could see here. Either A, they were both shot inside the car and that second shell casing may have ejected out of the car and it's not recovered, or perhaps it is recovered, they're just not telling us yet. Or it looks like perhaps Matthew was shot outside the car and then dragged into the car. We know the drag marks are there. They talked about that. If he was in the front seat, shot in the front seat, dragged out of the front seat, put into the back seat so that way they can move the vehicle, that's one scenario. Or he was shot outside the car, then Savannah was shot inside the car, and that's how the shell casing remains inside the vehicle. I think that's the only 2 scenarios that I see. I think it's almost certain that she was shot inside the car. It doesn't appear that there was any drag marks or anything of that nature. So in my opinion, from what I know, sounds like she was inside the car. Possibly he was inside or outside of the vehicle when shot.
Mike, your thoughts?
Billy, yeah, we're talking about the self-defense, Christopher's self-defense idea. And Phil had mentioned the other day how wonderful it was that he hadn't lawyered up, that he actually threw that out there as an affirmative defense and actually made those statements that are totally contradicted by the physical evidence. And I always like to talk about consciousness of guilt. And I just want to throw that in there.
I know. If I hear that one more time, I'm gonna get a new attorney.
But one of the things I think about Christopher, because I'm like putting myself in his position, if you are truly innocent, and you just wrestled a gun from a maniac and you shot him in self-defense and you shot his girlfriend who's 9 months pregnant by accident, and you still consider yourself an innocent person, why would you then get in the car and drive it away and kind of hide it? Why wouldn't you call 911 from the scene and say, oh my God, let me tell you, officers, come here, please. There's a guy who tried to kill me, and by accident, I killed him. I killed his girlfriend, and I defended myself against him. The idea that he would hide that and then call his father to meet him, that just shows that guilty mind. I'll use the term guilty mind from now on.
Oh, stay with consciousness of guilt. I like that.
Consciousness of guilt has been overused, so you use guilty mind. Okay.
Yeah, but that's it right there. That's the consciousness of guilt. Mike, you really laid that out good. I think that was a great point. No, seriously, because you listen, he's buying drugs, but He's buying marijuana, let's say. He's
Right.
buying some
That's what
drugs.
they do.
He gets into the struggle. He struggled. He takes the gun away from Matthew. He winds up shooting. So, and why didn't he call 911? Like you said, he could stay.
Right.
Listen, I was buying drugs, but look what happened. I was fighting for my life, but he didn't. He showed the consciousness of guilt. And I think, Mike, you're going to wear that banner. Bill is surreptitiously, and I guess in the trick bag is mine.
Absolutely.